Hey, what is up, everyone? Pastor JAMZ here, back with another review, and today we have the sixth and new studio album from J. Cole, The Off Season. The J. Cole is a 36-year-old rapper, producer, singer-songwriter from North Carolina. Recognized as one of the most influential and greatest rappers of this generation. This was very hyped up, and did it live up to the hype? We'll see. Um, Originally, the Fall Off was going to be released, but instead he released the Off Season. I'm not sure what that was all about. Something I do want to get out of the way. Should Lion King on Ice and Snow on the Bluff should it have been on this album? Yes, I think it would have helped out a little bit more. Or if he had put it on this thing, it wouldn't have hurt him. Is what I'm trying to say. It would have kind of put this whole thing together, I guess, which I'll get to later. But he didn't, and that's fine. He did put the climb back though, and thought that was very interesting. Kind of like trying to see what exactly his mindset was going into this thing. Uh, and right away, right off the bat, you're met with 12 tracks and 39 minutes. The whole thing is very well produced, except for one track that I'll get to later. He utilizes his samples to the fullest extent, whether they're, his own beat is very steady paced, helping his flow, helping the features flow, or using the sample to create this more melancholy tone, real life storytelling, that type of vibe that he gives off that fans love, like myself. Uh, Something I do got to say about the messaging is very interesting. Uh, he struggles. The off season is in reference to an athlete. Whenever their season is over, they're in the off season. They're not necessarily free to do whatever they want. But their main mission is to keep their fire burning and their passion alive. For most athletes, even if you're not, especially if you're not as well known, it's very hard for them to maintain that passion and fire. In my opinion, it's probably more difficult to be in the off season and keep that fire going. You want to play again. You're looking forward to the next season than it is to actually play in your season. Because it's up to you. You know what I mean. It's just the willpower. Your willpower will be tested essentially, and that's exactly what Cole is explaining here. He struggles between both worlds. Speaking of both worlds, he also reflects on his two homes, North Carolina and Queens, New York. 95 South starts, which is a reference to North Carolina, and ends with Hunger on Hillside, which is in reference to Queens, New York. I thought that was very interesting. Kind of like some diverse messaging going throughout the album, and that works well for Cole. He's more of a storytelling guy, and kind of likes to reflect on things. However, there is a track on here, Applying Pressure, that is very kind of generic and awkward, corny, goofy. The beat itself sounds like it came out of 8 Mile. Not so much the not the most interesting beat I've ever heard, especially coming from J. Cole. And then it has like those blaring, bow 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 bow, like as if it's a meme or something. And then you have a rant from him at the end of the track, which I think is very corny, and the lyricism throughout the whole track could have been a whole lot better. That is the worst track on this thing. That is the only worst track. Bad track, sorry. But other than that, his lyricism throughout the album is very well put together, diverse, very interesting, and more lyricism from him from other projects that I've heard and that we enjoy. There is a decent track that I'm kind of on the fence about still. Pride is the Devil featuring Little Baby. Uh, Very interesting and very experimental from J. Cole. Kind of like this more catchy yet serious toned. I can't really explain it. That's why I'm so on the fence about it. And then Lil Baby comes Is the chemistry there? I'm not so sure, but for me right now, it's a decent track. Maybe it'll grow on me, maybe it won't. But I think I've listened to this album well enough to believe that it's decent. But I won't necessarily go out of my way to listen to this track. So essentially, people will assume right away, oh, well, I rate my albums based on the tracks. How many of them are good? How many of them are decent? How many of them are bad? No, that is not how I rate my albums. You can have an album that is 10 tracks long and not a single one is bad and still get an 8.5. It's just how there's other aspects that are come into play when I rate my albums. There is structure, there's messaging, there's uh like my own receiving of the entire project. Just because you don't have a bad track on there doesn't mean that it's always a 10. No, there's so many things that come into play. So that's another criticism I'm going to give this album is structure. J. Cole has been so on point and consistent with his structure of his albums. However, in the off season, that doesn't he kind of really breaks that streak, I guess. You're met with a more hyped up J. Cole and then a melancholy, serious, not so much of sad, but solemn J. Cole, like humble J. Cole. Then you're met with hype J. Cole, humble J. Cole. Hype J. Cole, humble J. Cole. Especially towards the end of this album, kind of really throws off the listener. Threw me off, especially. I had to, you don't understand how many times I had to listen to this. And I did take breaks because when you listen to when new project comes out, you listen to it back to back to back to back. You're going to kind of get over it, and so I did take breaks. I really wanted to see and give out my honest answer on this thing. So the structure could have been way better. His other albums are structured very well since they do have, hype J. Cole and then humble, melancholy J. Cole. He balances both sides very well in his past albums. However, in here it throws off everybody. I discussed this album with a few people and yeah, they didn't even know themselves because of this same reason. Enough criticism. But my god, are some of the best highlights from J. Cole's discography on this thing. Right away, uh, my life with 21 Savage and Morray. Wow, probably one of his top 5 songs right now. That that song goes so hard and fire, like everything goes well together. The singing vocals from Morray, the very well put out hype flow from J. Cole, and then the more subtle, not more of a dark tone from 21 Savage. Not so much dark, he's more humble too. Humble 21 Savage. Forget what I just said about the dark tone stuff. Humble 21 Savage, very well put together. Chemistry is awesome. If you want a sequel to A Lot, this is essentially what that is, given a sequel of J. Cole and 21 Savage to the fans. And then my second favorite song, Hunger on Hillside with Boss. Very uh, melancholy storytelling from him. I do love when he gets, very serious and kind of sensitive in a way. I really enjoy when he puts himself in that position. The track itself kind of seems like the ultimatum or the coming together of the entire album. This is the end. Will it be the end? And most certainly it sounds like the end. I think this track is very emotional, especially for J. Cole fans, and I just find it so interesting how he can just come up with this stuff. Also, Let Go My Hand featuring Boss and Six Black, another melancholy song, struggling of keeping your fire and passion going, and what you love to do. and I can reflect on that personally because of what I was experiencing a few weeks ago. You know, struggling with keeping my motivation and willpower to keep doing what I love, which is YouTube and my school. Um, More of this hype stuff. You know, right away, 95 South, Amari, punch in the clock, punch in the clock. More like this very fast paced 2 minute little shortcut uh, straightforward rap song. Very, very well done. 100 mil with featuring Boss. Boss on this thing, he does provide, very great features. Although I don't like his music, he is a very well, I would say, very well put together partner, and puts out good chemistry with J. Cole on this thing. Um, Interlude was great. Kind of like created this big. This is what created the whole hype essentially. The climb back is as great as ever. Close, and that's pretty much it. If you like J. Cole, him experiencing new things and experiencing a new chapter in his life, expressing his struggles and motivation. You know, he is fighting both sides of the table. He's fighting. He shows you both sides of the coin. He's experiencing a new chapter in his life of keeping his passion, his fire. The lyricism is amazing. The production is amazing. The structure of the album could have been way better and well put together. Um, like I said, there's only one bad track and one decent track. Altogether, I'm giving this an 8. Yes, although all the things I just said, that might be a little high, but a 7.5 and a 7 is too low. I think 8 is a good place to put this album, given the fact of my other ratings of his previous albums. Uh, so yeah, that is The Off Season by J. Cole. I think it's very well perceived by the public, and I hope it's well perceived for you all who are watching. Give this one a listen. It is certainly worth a listen, and probably the album that's most buzzing right now. Let me know what you all think, and peace and stay safe.